Hey y'all, Enso here from Knox Knife Mods. It is that time of the year. These are my favorite knives of 2023. Now, these are all the knives I purchased in 2023. Not all of these are going to be included in the roundup here because they weren't all produced in 2023. So Walsh has done his side of the video. He's done his favorite knives of 2023, and that video is going to pop up here in a card. So please go check it out before you watch mine if you haven't seen it already. What we're going to do here is first, we're going to do a quick pass over everything I got this year just so I can tell you about it very briefly. And then secondly, we're going to get into knives produced between December of 2022 and December of this year, this month of 2023. And we're going to round those up into 3 categories. I'm going to match Walsh's breakdown of his categories, which were $0 to $75. That's our budget category. $75 to $150 is our mid-tier, and $150 and up is our high-end range. And then there will also be an X Factor knife just for fun. So yeah, without further ado, let's just dive right in, guys. A very brief run through here. This is the Rough Rider Appaloosa Jack Coke bottle. I love that Appaloosa bone and 2 blades there. We won't get into walk and talk right now just because we're moving quick. This is another Rough Rider. This is the Black Reserve saddle horn, pack of wood handles, 440 AA steel there. I love saddle horns, man. There's something about that pattern that's just excellent. Both of these were produced this year. This is a Buck Creek Congress. I got this one from Tennessee Cutlery, and it's just really cool. Don't know the date on this. I mean, it's definitely got some age to it, but yeah, really cool Congress knife. That's buffalo horn, by the way. Buffalo horn covers that have been had some sort of etching applied. I'm not sure if it's laser or what, but I like the look of it. It's cool. This is a Imperial Barlow produced between the 50s and the 80s. I got this at Smoky Mountain Knife Works old blade section. No wobble on these blades, which is insane to me. They do have a little bit of rub, but I mean, I can forgive that. Handle is Sawcut Delrin. Don't know the blade steel, although it is, I think it says it's stainless. And this is a USA produced Imperial, so I was pretty stoked on that as well. Anyway, moving on. This one is this year. This is a Case Smoky Mountain Knife Works exclusive mini trapper, olive green, jigged bone, and crown shield. I like that shield a lot. This one I bought this year, but it was produced in 21. This is a Case, what do they call these? Sodbuster Juniors? I can't remember what they call this. A small Sodbuster. You get my point. 420 HC steel. Nice little walk and talk action on this one. I believe this is autumn jig bone, but I'm not sure. But yeah, it's still excellent. And the dog tooth shield, hound's tooth, whatever you want to call it. I'll put that one back there. This is another Rough Rider here. This is in the reserve line. This is the whittler. I call it a coffin whittler. I can't remember what their whole name for it is. But nice big coping blade there, or sheep's foot, whatever you want to call it. Smaller one and another smaller one. Very cool design. I really like the coffin-shaped handle. This one right here is a Boker club knife, another Smoky Mountain Knife Works exclusive, also produced this year. Copper integral build and a burlap micarta handle covers on there. 01 steel on this, really cool steel. All right, moving along here. That one was 100. These all right here are in the budget line. This top one here was right around 60, and now we move up to 100. This one here was also purchased this year, but not made this year. It was a very old knife, I think made in the 80s. A K-bar dog's head. I've seen this pattern called an English jack. I've seen it called a plowman's jack. English jack's probably a little bit easier to say. I don't know, who cares? Cigar knife, I've also seen it called. But nice bone, not sure what the steel is, but it's stainless. And that really cool dog's head shield. Gotta love it. Moving along, another older knife. This one was made in 05, I believe, on the date. I'm not going to look at it right now, but this is a Case Granddaddy Barlow, one of my favorite patterns. I love Granddaddy Barlows. Beautiful bone covers on that. Look at that color. That's just I love that color. Very cool shield as well. Yeah, this was a good pickup from Tennessee Cutlery. This one is produced this year. This is a Case back pocket in buffalo horn. Gotta love it. Tony Bowes design, modernized with an S35VN blade and an opening hole instead of a nail nick. And that hole has grown on me. I really like it a lot. So yeah, this will be a contender this year. We'll get into more of it later. And this is a Northwoods Heritage Jack, another contender for this year in the high category here. Beautiful burlap micarta that has shades of blue and orange. 1095 steel. So yeah, definitely contender. We'll get to that. We'll do more on that in a second. Another contender this year, let's see, this is a Smoky Mountain Knife Works exclusive Remington Silver Bullet Blade. It was supposed to come out in 2022, but it didn't hit the store until 23. Saw cut bone. Anyway, we'll talk more about this one in a minute. Produced by GEC. Nice Granddaddy Barlow there. Now let's get into the moderns. First up, actually I think price-wise it's going to go like this. First up we have the Kaiser Kobold, designed from Sebastian Irwan. I love this knife. Very cool design. Big boy. Very thick in the hand and a very stout blade there. 154 cm. Well, yeah, we'll get more into it. This is the Civivi Snex Vision FG, the kind of more budget-oriented alternative to the Vision R. This thing has some wow factor to it. Holy moly. Okay, moving right along. This is the Spyderco Stretch 2. This one's been out for a while. My wife got it for me as a birthday gift this year, though, so I wanted to just show that one off real quick. K390 on the steel. Really love this knife. Another one that's not from this year. This is a WE Black Void Opus. Great sort of gents like carry knife. It's very slim and it carries very well, and it's just an elegant looking knife, so I do like that one quite a bit for more dressier occasions. Oh man, I was so happy to get this back in the collection. This came out this year. However, the pattern's been around so long now, and the only thing that changed is the studs, so I'm not going to include it this year just because it's been around, the TRM Atom. It's been around a minute. But just really happy to have an Atom back in the collection. I miss this knife so much. Lastly, another big deal for me this year, a Wear Knives Lucas P. This is crazy to me. This knife came out in 21, and I didn't get one until this year because when they came out, they were around like close to pushing $400, and I just couldn't do that much money. I bought this one used for around the $200 mark. It has some scuffing on it, but I mean, I use my knife, so I don't really care about that. But there's something about the blade and the handle and the design, and I know a lot of folks I've talked to have been like, well, that blade doesn't really look like it goes with that handle. Maybe not, but the design works for me. I love this design, and I love all of Matthew Wehrwein's designs. So please do yourself a favor, go follow Wear Knives, WEHR, on Instagram. Mostly his work is custom, but he has 3 production lines. This is the Lucas P. He also has the Alley P and the Wolf P. The Lucas has been my favorite design, but the other designs are great too. Okay, so that's everything. Let's go ahead and get what is not produced this year out of the way, and we will dive into it here, break down the categories. We're going to start with budgets, which is interesting because these two are going to be in the budget category, I'm pretty sure. Let me double check the price on that Civivi FG. I believe that came in. This one in particular comes in at $99, but no, it's going to be above it. Okay, so this is going to be a mid-tier knife. That's good to know. Great. These are coming in at the standard version comes in at $78, by the way, so just barely past the budget. All right, let's see here. This was not produced. Oop, drop it. Get these out of the way. All right, so those are our budget. This guy too, actually. He came in under 75. This was not produced this year. This was not produced this year. Okay, great. Now we are ready to rock and roll. All right. That should do it. Okay, so let's focus here on our budget options, and we will bring these front and center. Only got one modern knife. Gosh, guys, what's happening to me? I'm turning into a slip head, man. Okay, let's see here. We'll start here with the Rough Rider Appaloosa Coke bottle from their In Spades line. Holy moly. This knife is $18, $17.99, and for $18, it's the most satisfying $18 I think I've ever spent in my entire life. I love this knife. And I love Rough Rider, and we're going to do a subsequent video into why my estimation of Rough Rider as a brand has just skyrocketed this year. Suffice to say that we've done a lot of work with Smoky Mountain Knife Works lately, and what I've learned about what they intend to do with Rough Rider and what the goal of the brand. Basically, they're keeping patterns alive that probably not everybody knows about. They used to have a museum where Smoky Mountain Knife Works currently is that has a lot of knife history, a lot of old catalogs, and there are patterns in those catalogs that have been forgotten. Rough Rider aims to keep them alive. Now, a Coke bottle, of course, is not a forgotten pattern. Plenty of people still make Coke bottles. However, this rendition of it is so excellent. My goodness. Look at the bone here. Black Appaloosa is what they call it. That is just gorgeously dyed. Love the spade shield. It's really cool. Here's the other side. Equally beautiful. I love the look of this Appaloosa bone. It's just gorgeous. Our blade steel is 440A. We have this nice clip point here that kind of looks like a Lanny's clip. I love that shape. Action is wonderful. And this is just regular Rough Rider. This isn't even reserve. But the action is just lovely. Our secondary blade has a tougher pull on that. Probably like a 9 out of 10 on that. Tough pull. I don't mind it, but I do wish the two were more consistent. There's a coping blade there. You can see Rough Rider's 30th anniversary Tang stamp. And matte strike pulls, of course, a sign of a Rough Rider there. Excellent walk and talk. Just I wish they were more consistent. But everything else is perfect, man. There's like no gaps on this knife. Now you do see there's kind of this black outline. I don't know if that's filler or what, but I mean everything's flush and there's no nicking on the transitions. They feel great. No gapping. I mean it's really nice. So I don't really worry about that black filler or whatever it is because it goes with the knife. It doesn't look out of place. So yeah, that is the Appaloosa Coke bottle in spades. Really love it. Really love that knife for $18. Highly recommended. Up next is the Rough Rider Black Reserve saddle horn. A saddle horn is probably my favorite pattern. I really love a saddle horn. My favorite pattern used to be a Lanny's clip, but lately, I don't know, there's something about the saddle horn and having two blades. I love two blade patterns and I just think it works. Our blade steel, once again, 440A. This is Rough Rider standard line. It's not reserve. The name of this particular run is Black Reserve, but it's not part of Rough Rider Reserve. Our handle material here is paca wood. You can see it has this nice texturization that's been applied to it. I really like it. It feels great in the hand. We have blue liners. I believe those are G10. You can see a bit of gapping here between the back spring and that brass liner right there. It's pretty noticeable in person. And when I first got this knife out of the box, there was some blade wobble. This one, by the way, had minuscule. I mean, it almost doesn't even count. So I'm not going to count it because it was barely noticeable. This one, however, had noticeable blade wobble. As you can see, I corrected that by pinching that bolster and then peening the pin. I'm not the best at peening, but you know what, it's fine. So no more wobble on it now, and I carry the ever-loving heck out of this knife. I really love it as a back pocket carry. So that's our main clip point blade there. Our secondary is a Skinner, as you would typically see on a saddle horn. Get some of that crud off of there, sorry about that. And really cool shields here. What's interesting is this one has the 30th anniversary shield, but the Black Reserve line has a 25th anniversary shield. That's how long they've been trying to get this Black Reserve line done. But another fun thing with the Black Reserve line, oh, by the way, walk and talk on the secondary blade, not as good for some reason. It's kind of mushy, but it closes tightly. It's just that it opens tightly is what I should say, but the closing action is not great. Anyway, part of the Black Reserve line that you're getting, part of the experience is the box. This box is really cool. Apparently, Kevin Pipes was gifted a bottle of Don Julio, and it came in a box that he thought just looked really neat, so they tried to recreate it in some ways for the Black Reserve line. So we have a slip case here. Look at this box, man. And you turn it this way, and it's all angles. Look at that. It's so cool, so cool. I keep the knife in this box just because it's so neat when I'm not carrying it. And then you open it up here. There is some information about the brand and the namesake from Teddy Roosevelt's Rough Riders. And as you can see, there's a foam insert here to hold the knife. So yeah, it's a really cool presentation. I really do like it a lot. One thing I wanted to talk about with both of these first two knives is the 440A steel. I know a lot of people are going to just be like, oh, 400 series steel. Yeah, I know, but you know what? For the prices here, it's 18 bucks. This one's on sale for 29 right now. I paid 36, I believe. For that price, I'm fine with 440A. It's stainless. From Rough Rider, both of these blades came with razor sharp edges, which is more I can say for this brand, as well as, heck, it's more than I can say for either of these two knives, both produced by GEC. So yeah, Rough Rider, man, they always come razor sharp. So that's nice. And these 440As held up fine. Now, you're not going to take your slip joint and do any crazy destructive tasks, so 440A is going to be fine for that. All right, so those are our Rough Riders in the budget category. Up next is the Case Smoky Mountain Knife Works exclusive in olive green, jig bone, and the crown shield here. This one came around $50, currently on sale for $40. Tang Stamp marks it as produced in 2022, but as I recall, this didn't hit shelves until 23, so we're sticking with 23 on this. We have a main clip point blade here on this mini trapper and a secondary spay. Both of them are nice little blades there. This is a really, I almost hesitate to call it a mini trapper just because it feels so, in hand, it just feels different than a trapper. The blade styles are the same, well, they're similar. But so I can see why you would call it that, but there's something different about it. I don't know, but it should be its own pattern. But it's a great little pattern. The fit and finish on this one's pretty good. There's a little bit of roughness with the back springs. They don't quite match perfectly. Also, this bone cover is a little shy of being flush. It's all forgivable. Out of the box, this one had a hair of wobble, not bad. I got rid of it. So something to keep in mind with Case, typically, this is stuff you're going to see. As long as that wobble is just not all over the place, then I tend to forgive it. So yeah, $50 on this one. Excellent little knife there. Up next, we have the Rough Rider Reserve Coffin Whittler. This one came in around the $60 mark. So we're getting closer to the top of our budget category here. I love the Bomb Shield. Black linen micarta, which feels very nice in hand. Oddly enough, and I've never really seen this from Rough Rider Reserve, the ends of the covers are just a little proud. It's kind of strange. It's not awful, but it is noticeable on both sides. Not sure what was happening there. Great walk and talk, as always, from Rough Rider. And you have this double back spring, so this big main Warncliffe blade pivots on both of the back springs, while these two smaller Warnies pivot on individual ones. Kind of interesting design there. And much lighter action on these smaller Warnies, very light. So you're not going to have that thwacking snap that you normally get on the big blades, but this one certainly has it. A very attractive knife. I really dig it, and I really love the coffin shape. And yeah, just another big hit from Rough Rider Reserve. So finally, this is the most expensive one out of all of these. This one comes in around the 63 mark, so getting close to the top of our budget line here. This is the Kaiser Kobold. Man, look at this thing. I love this knife. Designed by Sebastian Irawan, and in the hand, this is a thick handle of micarta here. In the hand, this thing is a beast. Blade steel's 154 cm. Everybody knows Kaiser's 154 is excellent. Action is just absurd. It can front flip. You can also middle finger deploy it. And my favorite way, however, is and it takes some practice, but when you hit this thumb hole just right, the way this thing fires is really satisfying. So the only modern knife in our budget category here. So who's the winner? You know what? Man, all right, let's get these out of the way. We're going to take it down to two of them. The Case, it's USA made. That's one thing you can say. It's USA made. The Rough Riders are made in China. However, they're designed in-house at Smoky Mountain Knife Works. You can go there, you can go to Smoky Mountain Knife Works and the designer is working. He's working there, So, I mean, you could walk up and talk to the guy if you were able to. So that's something that I will say for Rough Rider. So you're getting a USA made knife for $50. However, there is more slop in these in terms of the fit and finish, I find, than there is in Rough Rider, which is really interesting. Particularly in Rough Rider Reserve, there's really no slop at all. So we're going to take this one out. As much as I love this knife, and I carry it every day nearly, it's going to get beat out by these two. Same for the Whittler and same for this Case. So putting these head to head, if I could split them up and say slip joint of the year, this is the slip joint of the year, hands down. This knife is excellent. There's virtually no issues with it. It's just really great. If you're going to be nitpicky, there are some fit and finish issues you could find, but $18. This is the best $18 I've ever spent. So that would be slip joint of the year. However, and this would be the slip joint budget knife of the year. This would be the modern budget knife of the year. But I have to pick one. I have to pick the Kobold. This design is so original, so fun. The name is great. A kobold is a reference to a fantasy creature from Dungeons and Dragons and other, fantasy media. I love it. Everything about it. Like the handle is really cool, really ergonomic. It just feels so good in hand, and it feels like it's ready to work. And you have that great Kaiser 154 cm. You have a multitude of deployment methods here. Yeah, it's the Kobold. I really love this knife. So that's our budget winner, and we'll leave that one out here. Actually, you know what? Yeah, we'll put it right here for you guys to keep in mind. Okay, so on to the mid-range. What's our mid-range again? 75 to 150? Yeah, I believe that's right. So what we have here is the Boker Clubman or club knife. I can't remember. I think it's club knife. Integral copper handles here, which is really neat. So the bolsters are integral to the liners. Very cool. And as you can see, that copper takes a really nice patina and gets very colorful. And yeah, it's very beautiful. This was a Smoky Mountain Knife Works exclusive, as I said earlier. Really nice. It's a lighter walk and talk, but it's still really nice. Kind of a matte strike long pull. I like that a lot. Our steel is 01, which is really neat. To get a traditional knife in 01 steel, it's not something that is unheard of. I mean, Boker's been using 01 for a while, but I'd love it. I love the acid etch on it. I just think it looks really good. These came in right at $100. I don't know if they're still available. Also, that burlap micarta just looks really nice. It's very smooth on this one, but yeah, very nice. And as I said, just a great walk and talk half-stop action there. Great offering from Boker. Out of the box, this one had some wobble. I had to squeeze those bolsters and peen it. So that's you kind of get a negative point for wobble. Well, when it's noticeable, and it was noticeable on this. Up next, ooh, mommy, oh boy. The Civivi Vision FG. I debated whether or not to include this knife since it's a reiteration of a knife that was produced in 2022. But you know what, guys? This varies not substantially, but well, yeah, it varies pretty well from the original Vision R from Wii. So our big points of differentiation here, the pocket clip is mounted on the side where it should be, and instead of a deployment hole, we have thumb studs. We also have a thicker superlock here and G10 instead of titanium handles. But you know what? The texture on this G10 it's so nice. It feels like micarta. I prefer G10 for its durability compared to micarta. So having a G10 that feels like micarta to me is just a win-win-win-win-win. I love it. The Damascus pattern on this knife is very pretty. However, it's not very even. You can see the pattern comes up. Sorry about that. That was my email going off. The pattern comes up well above the edge on this side and then almost touches the edge on this side. I can't remember what their let's close that. I can't remember what their steel composition for their Damascus is. I think it's like 9CR clad in VG10 or something. Y'all correct me if I'm wrong, please. But excellent knife. There is no reason, if you want a Vision and you only want to buy one, there's no reason to buy the R. Just buy the FG. It's the better experience overall. I love them both, but visually I prefer the R, but man, I mean, I don't know, that's not even true. I like them both, but yeah, visually I like this one a lot too. The thumb stud action is excellent, and yeah, it's a killer knife. Absolutely awesome. The Vision FG coming in our mid-tier range here. Price on that was $78. So it just barely gets over the budget line. So it's an excellent mid-range option. You're right at the bottom of the mid-range there. And lastly, our Case Buffalo back pocket coming in right around 112, I believe is what I paid for this one. Look at that. I love that buffalo horn jig they did, that wormhole jigging. It works really well with the buffalo horn. Lets you see kind of the striations and the variations in the color of the horn. So yeah, that's the thing about buffalo horn. It's not just plain black. It's got some gold and some gray and some deeper kind of colors to it. It's very attractive. The jigging got a little hard on this side right there. It got kind of feathery, but it's fine. Nothing that really bothers me that much. I believe there was a little bit of gapping. Yeah, right up top here, there's a bit of gapping. Not bad. No wobble at all. Just nice and secure. Our blade steel is S35 VN in this lovely stone wash. Now, this might be a point of contention, that thumb hole or finger hole, nail hole, whatever you want to call it. Would I prefer to nail nick? Yes, I would have. However, That hole has really grown on me, which surprises me. I really have begun to see it as part of the knife now, and I really like it. And the nice thing about the hole is you can open it easier left-handed than you can with a nick. So it does give you kind of some ambidextrous sort of options there. It comes with this lanyard. I have a Skyrim thing on it. It typically has a case thing, but the case pinch broke, so I have a Skyrim thing on there. Yeah, so that's our top of our mid-tier. Okay, so let's see here. We got to make a decision here. All right, guys. I like the Boker, but it did have, out of the box, it had noticeable wobble, so I have to knock it out for that. Both of these I was very pleased with. However, for the money, man, I can't believe with the amount of slip joints I bought this year, I'm going moderns for all my selections here. The next one I can't because I don't have a high-end modern. Yeah, I got to go with the Civivi FG, the Vision FG. I think this just has been a killer, awesome, excellent option for anybody wanting a Snex design. It was the first budget-oriented Snex design, and it was a slam dunk all the way around. Bringing in the sort of corrections that I think needed to be made. The pocket clip on the Vision R it's nice to look at, but it functionally I think it doesn't work well. Having it just mounted on the side and this is not the clip it comes with, by the way. I replaced it with a titanium clip. But having it on the side just makes so much more sense, and it's just easier to control, easier to handle. When I want to carry a Vision, this is the one I carry. So yeah, the Vision wins, guys. So we have two modern knives as our winners so far, our budget winner and our mid-tier winner. Excellent. Oh, I should say, this variation of the FG comes in around $90. The standard version of the FG is $78. So that's just something to keep in mind. If you want the Damascus and all that, you got to pay up for it. But the standard's Nitro V. That's a great steal. Nitro V for $78 in this pattern. Oh man, I'll do that all day long. Okay, guys, our last mainline category here. We also have X Factor to get to, which is just kind of for fun. Our high-end category here. So we have the Northwoods. This came right in at 150 for me, so just right on the line. The Northwoods Heritage Jack. If you follow Northwoods, you're going to know these are what's the word I'm looking for? These are a commodity. They're very hard to get. They're harder to get than GECs, which is absurd. I feel like no knife should be that hard to get if it's a production knife, but this is what we're dealing with. The reason I was able to get one is because typically they come in when they do a run of a knife, it comes in a variety of handle patterns. And obviously the more exotic ones are like mammoth and some Appaloosa bones and some saw cut bones and stuff. Well, the saw cut is more standard, but the more attractive bones and the mammoth are like the one that everybody wants. So burlap micartas and stuff like that, and their standard black micarta is typically not as quickly picked up. So once the drop went live, I went straight from my car to click buy and I was done. So let's talk about this one. We have 1095 blade steel here. I love the blade shape. I love the handle shape. The pattern, just the visual lines of the pattern, I think are just beautiful. It just is a classic looking knife, which is, it's the Heritage Jack. It makes sense. We have the typical Northwoods appearance here with their lovely logo under that big long pull in the sort of forge finish that they have on the flats. Got a bit of patina on this one. I don't want to put too much because I still want to highlight that forge finish. I've always liked that aspect of a Northwoods knife. The knife does not come particularly sharp, as is the case with GECs. Our GEC produced knives, they usually don't sharpen them very much. And that burlap micarta, let's look at that because there are hints of blue and orange and brown. It's a really lovely micarta. It's pretty amazing, and it has a little bit of texture to it. It's not perfectly smooth, and I like that a lot. Action is really nice, kind of the perfect, yeah, it's pretty darn good. That's probably a 7 out of 10, I would say, in terms of the strength of the pull. Wonderful action. So, one thing we have to say, and I've been experiencing this with GECs, they come out of the box with no wobble, and then after a little bit of time, they develop wobble. Every single one of my GECs has done this. All of my wobble-free cases have stayed wobble-free. All of my wobble-free GECs have developed wobble. I find that very interesting. It's not bad. It's not bad at all, actually. It's totally, we're going to put that in the not applicable category, just because it's really not that bad. Okay, so that is the first one. The second one is the GEC-produced Remington Silver Bullet. supposed to come out in 2022, did not hit shelves until 2023. We have saw cut bone here, and it's a lovely saw cut bone. I love the way GEC does saw cut. It's really nice. A sterling silver bullet shield, and here's the other side as well. Nice tall bolsters on this Granddaddy Barlow. Blade steel's $10.95. It's gotten nice and patinaed, as you can see. So yeah, this one price-wise, ooh, it hurts. $200. Yowza. That's a hard pill to swallow, man. And for that reason, our top one's going to be the Northwoods. For the price, I felt like it was a fair price for a well-made, American-made traditional knife. That is, it's a commodity. It's a sought-after knife. And yeah, I got to give it to the Northwoods on that. Just, man, that walk and talk is so good. And the interesting thing about Northwoods, you have to be okay with a thicker blade stock because they do have thicker stocks on their knives. But boy, it feels like your grandpa's work knife. That's what this knife feels like, and I love that. The handle fills the hand as much as you would want from a traditional knife without being bulky. And yeah, I don't know, that blade's just ready to work. So yeah, it's got to be the winner. So yeah, how about that, man? What an interesting year. We got to do an X Factor. What is the X Factor going to be? Well, guys, to be honest with you, typically I try to do something that is not the same as one of these, but I got to give it to the Cobalt. I just love this design. It's just so funky, man. And that's what X Factor is all about. So we have a twofer this year on the X Factor. This wins budget and it wins the X Factor. Just look at that design. It's crazy, man. Look at how the thumb hole section here flows into the handle right here. You have this nice divot up here if you want to choke up and bear down and do draw cuts. That's really cool. And the way the lines of the handle flow, I love it. This is the Cobalt 2, by the way. I should have mentioned that earlier. The Cobalt 1 was produced a few years back in titanium. Cobalt 2 is larger with a different handle, very different handle. It kind of retains the shape, but it's thicker and it's more rounded, and obviously it's got micarta. I think this swell back here is a little bit different too, to be honest. It's different enough that it is its own knife, which is why it's the Cobalt 2. It's not just the micarta Cobalt, it is the Cobalt 2. So yeah, yep, I got to get to the Cobalt, the X Factor knife of 2023. So guys, yeah, y'all saw Walsh's video. He also had a twofer on X Factor, which is understandable because he had some really cool knives this year. But yeah, that's mine. So Walsh and I are going to get together. We're going to talk about, we're going to weigh all of our knives together and talk about what our favorites were. And that will be in the following video. That'll be up soon, guys. We were just knocking them out here this week in an attempt to try to get a bunch of stuff up before Christmas here. So anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. Please let me know what your picks were this year. Give me one pick for each category: budget, mid-range, and high-end, and X Factor. If there's something out there that was just really cool, really funky. All right, guys, thanks so much for joining us, and we will see you in the next one. Peace.